20 Quotes by Washington, Wisdom from the First President of the United States. Welcome back to my channel. Today we're exploring the wisdom of the first President of the United States, George Washington. It's surprising how relevant his famous quotes still are today. From leadership to patriotism, and everything in between, Washington's words are just as inspiring today as they were centuries ago. So, let's dive. George Washington was a key figure in American history, and his influence on the country's founding and development is immeasurable. He was a true visionary, and his wisdom has left a deep impact on American society. Today, his wisdom is still being celebrated and remembered by people around the world. In this video, we will dive into some of his most famous quotes that will inspire us to be better versions of ourselves. Discipline is the soul of an army. Washington's military expertise is one of the main reasons why he is remembered. Many of his quotes revolve around leadership, and his quote, "Discipline is the soul of an army," is one that still rings true today. In a world where discipline is often seen as negative, Washington saw it as the foundation of success. He emphasized that discipline and order were fundamental to achieving victory and are crucial for any team to achieve success. Happiness and moral duty are inseparably connected. Washington believed that happiness and moral duty were inextricably linked. He thought that true happiness came from fulfilling moral obligations. This quote will inspire you to seek out opportunities to serve others and to live your life according to your own moral code. It is better to offer no excuse than a bad one. This quote by Washington emphasizes the importance of taking responsibility for our actions. Excuses do not help in the long run and can even turn a mistake into a crisis. Instead of making excuses, we should own up to our mistakes and take responsibility for our actions. Honesty is the first chapter in the Book of Wisdom. Washington believed that honesty was the foundation of trust and the key to a successful life. This quote reminds us that honesty is the key to success and that we should always be truthful in our dealings with others. Liberty, when it begins to take root, is a plant of rapid growth. Washington understood the importance of freedom and liberty for the prosperity of the nation. This quote reminds us that freedom is a powerful force, and once it takes root, it grows quickly. Worry is the interest paid by those who borrow trouble. Washington understood that worry was a pointless exercise and that it did not lead to any positive outcomes. This quote reminds us to avoid worrying about things we can't control and to focus our energy on more constructive thoughts. Let us with caution indulge the supposition that morality can be maintained without religion. Washington understood that morality and religion were closely linked. He believed that for a society to be morally strong, it needed to be rooted in religion. This quote reminds us to include religion in our lives and to strive to be more moral in our everyday lives. Associate yourself with men of good quality if you esteem your own reputation. Washington emphasized the importance of surrounding oneself with people of good character. This quote reminds us to choose our friends and acquaintances carefully, as it says much about our character. If we desire to secure peace, it must be known that we are at all times ready for war. Washington believed in being prepared for war in order to prevent it. This quote reminds us that peace comes from strength and that we must be prepared to protect ourselves and our society. It is an old adage that honesty is the best policy. Washington believed that honesty was always the right path to choose in any situation. This quote encourages us to be honest, no matter what the circumstances are. Discipline is the soul of an army. It makes small numbers formidable, procures success to the weak, and esteem to all. Washington believed that discipline was important for every aspect of life, including military strategy. This quote reminds us that discipline can lead to success and respect for oneself and others. Never look backward unless you are planning to go that way. Washington believed that we should always look to the future and avoid dwelling in the past. This quote reminds us to focus on the present and the future rather than dwelling in the past. Labor to keep alive in your breast that little spark of celestial fire, called conscience. Washington believed in the importance of keeping one's conscience alive and well. This quote reminds us that our conscience is an integral part of our being and that we should always strive to keep it alive. The harder the conflict, the greater the triumph. Washington believed that overcoming challenges is one of the most powerful ways to grow and thrive. This quote encourages us to face our challenges head-on and to never give up. Happiness and moral duty are inseparably connected. Washington believed that happiness and moral duty went hand in hand. This quote reminds us that true happiness comes from fulfilling our moral duties and that we should strive to live according to our own moral values. It is better to offer no excuse than a bad one. Washington believed in taking responsibility for one's actions. This quote reminds us to take responsibility and to always be truthful, no matter how difficult it may be. My mother was the most beautiful woman I ever saw. All I am I owe to my mother. Washington had a deep love and respect for his mother and acknowledged that she played a key role in his life. This quote reminds us to appreciate our loved ones and to acknowledge the role that they play in our lives. Honesty is the first chapter in the Book of Wisdom. Washington believed that honesty was the key to success. This quote reminds us to be honest and truthful in all our dealings. It is better to be alone than in bad company. Washington believed that it was better to be alone than to be in the company of people who did not share one's values. This quote encourages us to choose our friends and acquaintances wisely. If you enjoyed the video, please subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell to receive updates on new content.